I really didn't want to have to fucking go here, but fuck it, here we are at this point. Okay, so let me give the backstory for what's going on here. The weekend after Thanksgiving, MTG cosplayer Christine Sprankle stated that she was leaving the community, citing one of the largest contributions to her decision to harassment from Unsleeved Media, formerly known as MTG headquarters, who stated that what Miss Sprankle was saying was false and there was no proof. Then Tolarian Community College released a video that showed a lot of proof of behavior like this. Notably, one of Unsleeved's talking points was that the only evidence was a video from 6 months ago and out of context tweets. He made a response to TCC, but first I want to address the proof that he himself admits to the existence of. That video from 6 months ago? Well, for one, I don't understand Jeremy from Unsleeved's insistence on it being 6 months when it was actually 8 months as of Sprankle's exodus, but you're probably wondering why I would know so much about that video in the first place. It was in my commentary material playlist for about 6 months of that time, but I decided against covering it. It's mostly the section of the video where he talks about Christine Sprankle and Tolarian Community College that I was going to cover. To sum up what my issue with this video is, he rants about his issues with particular tactics used by those seeking support for their creative endeavors on Patreon. Which is fair. If you don't like the way that they do something, best thing you can do is talk about what you don't like and, more importantly, not give the person doing so your money. There's some leaps in logic he makes to come to this conclusion, though, that I don't like, and I don't think he fully understands the amount of effort people may put into their videos compared to him. Yeah, no offense, man, but this speaking from personal experience, you don't have as much editing to do as most people you call out, nor do you have as much scripting. I'm not saying these things make your videos bad, but you seem to underestimate the amount of time other people put into videos in comparison to you. But that's not important. In this video, he harps on Christine Sprankle crying at the end of a video announcing the opening of her Patreon. And you know what? I don't like it when people sound desperate like that either. The point where she started crying was after all the pertinent information was given, and to be honest, if I had had the money at the time, I probably wouldn't have donated to her Patreon. It's one thing for someone to get emotional talking about what they're going through, but in this case, there was a jump cut right before, as though the editor, who I remember reading in the description was not her, insisted this be included. Hell, I thought she kinda looked uncomfortable doing it in general, so again, I kind of agree with you on this particular criticism. Now, even after the professor's video, Jeremy still claims that this is the only video evidence, even though the professor's video shows footage of you saying far more critical and less constructive things on what is clearly a different format, and your branding on the video even shows that some of these are distinctly after your rebrand, which was earlier this year. These others also appear to be from live streams that could possibly have been deleted. So there's really no denying that there's more video proof of you specifically calling her a... I believe the term you used recently was grifter? Of course, then there's a very important part of the professor's video that you seem to have overlooked. The professor doesn't actually say that you harassed anyone. When talking about actual harassment, he talks more about what other people have done. He spends a lot of the video asking questions and pleading with you to think about if you may be unintentionally sending the level of hate being described towards other people. In other words, he's not trying to prove that you harassed anyone. He's trying to show you what you've said and what these things actually result in. He even admits in the video that asking you to stop or even publicly acknowledge that other people might have fair criticisms against you is, well, not necessarily the most realistic thing. In fact, I've got the proof that the only time he even mentions you harassing anyone is in the context of Christine saying as much.
This past Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, MTG cosplayer and friend of the channel, friend of mine, Christine Sprankle, said that she was done with Magic the Gathering cosplay, that she was leaving due to harassment and attacks, and she also said that one of the biggest sources of pain has been the harassment from fellow MTG YouTuber, UnsleevedMedia, formerly known as MTG Headquarters, also just known as Jeremy.
He relays what she said, but at no point in the video does he say that he feels you actually did these things, but more so that you sent out a message that leads to this sort of thing. So, Jeremy, to quote one of your preferred catchphrases, show me the receipts. Of course, Jeremy responded as though the professor actually did say that this was an affirmation of guilt on his part.
But he himself failed to prove any relation between Christine Sprankle leaving as a cosplayer and any harassment from me. I have, of course, been of the mindset that while that video may have been mean, and there are parts of it that I regret being a little too mean, certainly was nowhere near harassment.
Well, here's the part of this that really bothers me. If you regret coming across as mean as you did, then here's the big question. When Christine Sprankle came out and said what she said, why not simply apologize for the part that you just now admitted was your bad? Look, I totally get defending yourself from such serious claims against you, even though there's video evidence of you continuing to go after what she tweets, but the fact that you've not once even thought about apologizing for the part where you admit to being in the wrong tells me things about your character that I personally would not like to believe are true. That does not in any way justify what other people do to you, though. You provide proof at the end of the video I got this clip from of people telling you to leave the MTG community and even going as far as to actually threaten you, saying that they want to know where your address is. In my mind, it doesn't matter if you actually sent harassing things to Christine or not. That is completely unjustified. So based on everything I've seen, here's my stance on this whole thing. Did Jeremy actually continually harass Christine into leaving? No, not really. He was kind of a dick and a bit of a misogynist, but he didn't cross that particular line of harassment. Okay, but does he deserve to get a DCI ban, a ban from Wizards tournaments, for his actions? No, not really. I think he should apologize, at least for letting things get out of hand, but I don't think such severe consequences are really in order, all things considered. Basically, this whole thing is pretty damn irrational all around. Professor made a video because other things relating to what Jeremy does were clearly eating at him too. Jeremy refuses to admit that his crass demeanor may have gone a step too far in this circumstance. And tons of people are treating one person or the other in this situation like Satan incarnate over... Well, when you get down to the brass tacks of things, they're doing it over a woman wearing a costume of a character on a card. Like, seriously, all of you. Grow up.